Hey everyone, great to see you on this wonderful day in January. At least it's wonderful right now. It's been a hell of a journey, but we're happy to see you here as we discuss the next chunk of the playtest, the Inventor, as part of their Guns and Gears playtest that's released. As you can see, Michael is in his mad scientist best. So before we get into the Inventor, let's introduce ourselves. Mr. Michael Powell, tell them who you are and where they can find you, you mad scientist, you, on
Well,
that internet. No,
well,
it's all good.
I'm Michael Powell, but today you can refer to me as Dr. Kapow. And you can find me all over the internet on my social media, which is at Mr. Kapow. That's MrKapao. And how about you, PJ?
Thanks for asking. My name is PJ McGaw. You can find me everywhere on the internet at pj.mcgaw. When I'm not here Tuesdays with Mr. Michael Powell at the table, I'm here Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for our homebrew Pathfinder 2nd Edition game, Edge of Legend. And I'm really excited about the next episode. But without further ado, let's get in to this class. Now, if you remember last time we discussed the playtest, we went into the Gunslinger, or as I've been refusing to stop saying, the Fun Slinger. I'm so witty.
If I had a paper fan, PJ, you get smacked.
Yeah, I would get booped in my snoot, justifiably so. And we wanted to get to both the Gunslinger and the Inventor, but the Gunslinger was just too juicy. And now we're going to get all the thick juice out of this meaty steak that is the Inventor. So if you have the playtest, awesome. You can read along with us. We're going to be reading this from the materials themselves from Paizo. Without further ado, let's get cracking on the Inventor. I'm going to get my little thing set up here. There we go.
Yep.
Actually, very nice.
Remember to plug in my light for later.
There
we go.
So right away, the Inventor really strikes me as interesting. I'm not going to get the mechanics of it, why, but what I think is really cool is the need for the Inventor is interesting. Because those who are familiar with Pathfinder 1st Edition, you remember the Alchemist pretty fondly. And the Alchemist was always the go-to science class. You know, your science, granted, was chemistry, if you will, but it had amazing magical and, mutagenical effect. Pretty sure mutagenical is not a word. But the Inventor is cool because and I've checked, it might be in a third-party book. I didn't see it anything Paizo-related. The Alchemist did not have a mechanical, like working with robots version of itself. And now this Inventor creates that science-bound class that works with robotics, not chemistry, and a bunch of other things. We'll get to it more on this deep dive today.
Oh, yeah. I kind of want to say that the Alchemist, to me, that's your, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde?
Absolutely.
And your Inventor is more of your Doc Brown or Artemis from Wild Wild West.
Well, I can kind of see that. Now, I've had some other things in mind, but I kind of wanted to wait till I read the description a bit more online to confirm this. But I also kind of feel like the Inventor is going to be more like a Dexter, you know, this frustrated creationist who's building these robots. But yeah, the Alchemist was sometimes Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They could be a lot of different things. But that was always one of the fun parts about the mutagens, was how you could buff yourself. So without further ado, let's do the Inventor. Do you want to read the fluff, or should I?
I'll read the fluff. All right. Any tinkerer can follow directions to construct a device, but you invent the impossible. For every contraption, you dream up challenges that define the definition of possibility, even if it only works for you. Driven by innovation, you're always on the verge of the next great breakthrough. That's actually very Tony Stark.
It's very Tony Stark. And I kind of have a feeling that maybe that Tony Stark vibe may be coming back. What I love is when you look at the picture of the iconic Inventor, you know, because whenever they release a playtest and a class, there's an iconic version they put out with it. I love that the iconic Inventor is an orc. You know, it really kind of spits in the idea they're all big dumb brutes. And I also love that his mechanical companion that he built is absolutely a robo-goblin.
Yep, Robo-Gobbo.
Robo Gabo. So I'm just going to knock out this first page of proficiencies pretty quickly here. Your key abilities, intelligence. It makes sense for a builder to be smart and know how to build. What's interesting is that your con is 8. You have 8 plus con modifier. That's your HP, kind of putting you in that DPS class of HP.
Yeah.
This is an uncommon rarity class. So if you're going to put this into your game, really make sure your GM and player are on the same page with it. Initial proficiencies, basically everything that's going to be said. Now, you're trained in trained in perception. You're an expert in fortitude, trained in reflex, expert in will saves. You are trained in crafting, and you are trained in a number of additional skills equal to 3 plus your intelligence modifier. And let's just say coming out the gate with an int of 18, which is the maximum at creation, you're rocking at least 7 plus crafting, like 8 skills out the gate. Your attacks, you are trained in simple, martial, and unarmed attacks. So you're kind of a fighty class. You're not like a fighter who is clearly super stacked for it, but you're still very capable of fighting. Your defenses are light, medium, and unarmored defense, trained in all 3, and you have an inventor class DC.
Really quickly, I want to also make note that this is also like the gunslinger. This is a uncommon class, which means you're first going to have to talk with your GM about whether they allow this class in their game or not.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's going to be a new trait coming out. I think Paizo is a little worried that some of their classes wouldn't fit or make sense, depending on the thing you're running. Yeah. So the uncommon rarity is a really good addition.
And I also kind of want to say, this class, just looking through the proficiencies, it reminds me of it's a cross between a rogue type class and a caster. It's between that. It's kind of like in the middle of that.
Yeah, I can absolutely see where you're coming from. The hit dice of 8 plus con makes me think it's right up there with rogue and monk, and being trained in armor definitely gives me that rogue vibe. But seeing the lack of reflex and the need for intelligence definitely gives me some weird like wizard alchemist vibes.
Yeah. Like a non-magical wizard, non-magical caster.
So far, yeah. We'll see what crazy things can come through later. I want to talk about the key terms, just like the gunslinger has some key terms. Right. Get this out of the way now. You have 2 that seem unique, and I might be wrong, but modification and unstable. Modification is a feat with this trait alters the construction of your innovation. If you have the reconfigure class feature, you can retrain these feats more easily. So now at the gate, what we're being teased is that something that you build can now be modified, changed, etc. So we're having this really cool building option. Unstable. Unstable actions rely on experimental functions of your innovation that you can't fully predict. After an unstable action is used on an innovation, using another one is dangerous. If you attempt to use another unstable action on it, you must attempt a DC 17 flat check. Ooh, that's rough. On a failure, the innovation malfunctions in a spectacular fashion, such as an explosion, shower of sparks, wasting the actions of making the innovation incapable of handling further unstable actions. An innovation's creator can spend 10 minutes retuning their innovation, retuning their innovation and making adjustments to return it to functionality. So now we have that risk versus reward of messing with your toys a bit, and I kind of like that.
I also really like the other 2 key terms, actually. Should I go over them as well?
Absolutely, knock them out.
Range trip. PJ, you know how much I love trip.
Oh, I know you do.
Yep. The weapon can be used to trip with the athletic skill at a distance up to the weapon's first range increment. The skill check takes a -2 circumstance penalty. You can add the weapon's item bonus to attack rolls as a bonus to the check. As with using melee weapons to trip, a ranged trip weapon doesn't deal any damage when used to trip. This trait usually appears only on thrown weapons. So kind of like what's it called? A bolo? I want to say it's a bolo or something. It's the 2, like 2 rocks with a piece of rope tied between them.
Oh no, you're right, bolo, and I can really see where you're coming from. A bolo could work. Ooh, you could do a ranged net and have a like it shoots a net and it's like range trip plus pin.
Basically a range tanglefoot bag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell us about the other one. Yeah.
yeah. Tethered. If you have a free hand while wielding this weapon, you can use an interact action to pull the weapon back into your grasp after you've thrown it as a range attack, or after it's been disarmed, unless it's being held by another creature, which reminds me of a gladiator's net.
You know what this means, though? The war yo-yo is real. The war yo-yo is back, everyone. It was okay. To be fair, the war yo-yo was never a thing, but the war yo-yo is back.
In chat, Adam Generator posted, when I read it, it gave me intelligence fighter vibes. A little bit, but I kind of want to say more. Actually, now I think about it more, it's kind of like investigator and caster. It's between investigator and caster, if you want to go even more specialized.
I do think it would be kind of interesting. You could probably definitely turn this into an int-based fighter. I did a little bit of research before we did today's show, and there are some things that are on par with fighters as far as traits are concerned. I haven't really dug into the feats, but I remember int-based fighters were a really fun, weird build in 3.5. So I'm really curious to see more about that as we move on today.
PJ, just imagine a inventor with the archetype of investigator, or investigator with the archetype of inventor.
Ooh, I definitely I'd like that, because then you have like Inspector Gadget kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's an interesting build concept, Inspector Gadget. Anyway, so class features, I want to knock out a few of these really fast, because a lot of them are things we've seen before in almost every class.
Yeah.
So at least it's solid. Obviously, at the gate, you're getting your ancestry background, first level proficiencies, as we've already explained. You get this fun thing called Explode. Your innovation is a unique creation, barely held together by your own creativity engineering. It's always on the edge of completely falling apart, though you can coax it to perform far beyond its design specifications using unstable actions, which we just talked about earlier. While inventors can learn various unstable actions over their career, all at least know how to make their innovation explode. And Explode is a 2-action. Its traits are, I always like these, Fire, Inventor, Manipulate, and Unstable. You cause your invention to blow up, damaging nearby creatures without damaging the innovation. Hopefully. The explosion deals 2d6 fire damage in a 5-foot emanation around you, if you're wielding or holding the innovation, or your innovation, if it's your minion, with a basic reflex save. As your inventor level increases, so does the power of the explosion. At 5th and every 2 levels after, it deals an extra 1d6. If you have the Breakthrough Innovation class feature, you can choose either a 5-foot or 10-foot emanation. You also have the Revolutionary Innovation class feature. You can additionally choose 5, 10, or 15 feet. So what I love about this is you're purposely having your minion pet blow up. Good times. Yeah. What, you want to hit innovation?
Really quick, I also want to say,
yeah.
it gives me real MacGyver vibes as well, since a lot of his stuff is pretty much duct tape and bubble gum and a pen.
Well, I think they're also coming at the inventor class from the perspective of steampunk, where you're creating high science but with limited resources, and you're creating off of, so like when you look at the iconic inventor so far, who is an orc with a robo goblin, a gobo, as Adam Generator came up with, you're not doing it with the best high tech materials, tools, time, so it's going to be janky. And I think that's kind of what's cool, is that they're allowing mechanics so far that will allow janky builds, but also intelligent design with intelligent flaws.
PJ, I'm just imagining a Robo Gobbo powered with like a lawnmower or something to start up, go
the pull motor.
Yeah.
When's it gonna catch? There we go.
All right, innovation. While you always create various minor inventions, there's one in particular that represents your preeminent work. The one you hope eventually, with iterative experimentation and refinement, might change the world. Choose one of the innovations from the list below. Your innovation's level is equal to your level, and innovation only works due to your constant maintenance and tinkering and therefore has no market price. If your innovation is destroyed, you can spend 1 day of downtime and attempt a craft check with a high DC for your level. On a success, you rebuild it, which, once again, pretty much Tony Stark's Iron Man armor.
Yeah. Although I think what's interesting about this is kind of like with the alchemist and their potions, they heavily hint that unless they build a specific type of healing potion, all of their potions will not work on anyone but them because it's finely tuned to their genetics, blah, blah, blah. What I love about this is they are stating no matter what cool thing you build, you cannot sell it.
Yeah.
You know, you cannot be like, here's my robot, and people will be like, what's a robot? I don't care. But Iron Man, I think they said that his suit's worth $1.6 billion per suit.
Yeah.
But then, that's obviously in a more modern setting. They can attach value to that kind of stuff.
And speaking of Iron Man's armor, why don't you read the next bit, BJ?
Your innovation is a cutting-edge suit of medium armor with a variety of attached gizmos and devices. Your innovation armor has the following statistics. AC bonus +4, dex cap 1, check penalty -2, speed penalty 5 feet, strength 16, bulk 2, group composite, armor traits, I don't know if that's none or that's none. Your innovation armor can have a fundamental and property runes added to it the same way as ordinary armor. Because of the unique features of your innovations, everyone except you is untrained in it, even if they're normally trained or better in medium armor. Choose one initial armor modification to apply to your innovation, either from the following or from other initial armor modifications to which you have access. The initial modification grants you a resistance equal to 2 plus half your level to a number of damage types while you wear this armor. The damage types are listed in parentheses after the modification's name. Before I go into this list, holy cow. So this reminds me a lot of Starfinder. They have this thing, I forgot, it's one of the soldier archetypes or variants where you specialize in this suit of power armor. And out of the gate, they're saying, listen, inventors, we all know you want to be Iron Man. Here's your Iron Man. Here's your janky fantasy medieval Iron Man.
Yeah, it's your Iron Man Mark I armor.
And I love that it gives you a comparable strength stat and therefore gives you, like, no need to roll a high strength, especially to compete in melee fights. Is a 16 better than 18? No. Is the 16 going to get better? Maybe, maybe not. But it's still not bad. Sure. So it's an AC bonus 4 plus a dex cap of 1. You're probably going to have some decent dex anyway. Not bad. Let's go into things you can add to your armor. The harmonic oscillator. There we go. Harmonic oscillator. It is force and sonic. So putting this into your suit will give you a damage resistance of 2 plus half your level to force and sonic. That's another thing. Level 1, you have a damage resistance? Level 1. The barbarian has to get to level 9 or so before their rage even gives them a damage resistance. This is level 1.
Yeah.
So for Sonic, you designed your armor to inaudibly thrum at just the right frequency to create interference against force and sound waves. Metallic reactants, acid or electricity. The metals in your armor were carefully alloyed to ground out electricity and protect from acidic chemical reactions. Do you want to cover otherworldly protection?
Sure. Otherworldly protection. C-Tax. Using science instead of magic, you build your armor with carefully chosen materials and gadgets to protect yourself against otherworldly attacks. One of your types of resistance is to negative damage or to positive damage. If you have negative healing, such as if you're a Dampier, your resistance also applies to any types of alignment damage. Good, evil, chaotic, lawful. That can't damage you. Nope. That creatures are immune to a given type of alignment damage unless they are of the opposing alignment. For instance, you can take evil damage only if you're of good alignment.
Makes sense because you don't want to be strapped in good or evil energy in your good. It's gonna hurt
Do
you.
you know, this now reminds me of you can make a inventor champion or a champion inventor.
I was just thinking that, especially with this last bit about having damage resistance to like alignment types.
Yeah.
I wonder. I wonder if down the road we're gonna see like a free Robo Smite.
Maybe?
You went the last one, thermal insulation.
Sure. Thermal insulation, cold and fire, which is actually really common. A layer of insulation within your armor protects you from the rapid temperature fluctuations.
Yeah, considering how many classes, how many spells, early game and end game throw around fire damage, which is crazy.
Fireball.
Yeah, but it's crazy because, like, generally speaking, end game monsters tend to be resistant or immune outright to fire damage. So it kind of makes sense that players get that as well. Construct. Your innovation is a clockwork construct of cogs and gears. This innovation is a prototype construct companion, and you can adjust most of its base statistics by taking feats at higher levels, such as Advanced Companion. If you have the Overdrive action and use it after you've already commanded your construct during the same turn, your construct also gains the same Overdrive benefits that you do. Choose one initial construct modification to apply to your innovation, either from the following or from other initial construct modifications to which you have access, which means we're applying it more down the road. These modifications alter the construct's abilities or form. There's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 here, so I'll do 2, and then you can do the bottom 3.
All right.
Because it's a lot. It's really good stuff.
You want
It's
to
a
just
lot.
take turns? It'll be like we did before.
Let's just go back and forth. I was trying to go
Yeah.
through this, but there's so much stacked at level 1. This is a really front-heavy class.
Yeah. You want to go first or should I go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
Amphibious Construction. Increased buoyancy rudders and a means of propulsion, like an articulated tail with flukes or a powerful propeller, allow your construct to travel in water. Your innovation gains a swim speed of 25 feet.
Next one is Sensory Array. Additional sensory devices grant your innovation low light vision and dark vision, as well as imprecise tremor sense out of the range of 30 feet.
Yep. So basically, it's like, you know how Toph could see by feeling the vibrations in the earth?
Yeah.
That's basically what this machine can do.
Or the tremors from the movie Tremors.
Also true.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I need to make the text on this bigger. There you go.
That's it's quite all right. Accelerated mobility. Actuated legs, efficient gears in the wheels or treads, or add-on boosters make your construct move faster. Your innovation speed is increased to 40 feet. That's really good. That's faster than most people.
Oh, yeah. Projectile Launcher. Your construct has a mounted dart launcher, embedded cannon, or similar armament. Your innovation gains a range unarmed attack that deals 1d4 bludgeoning or piercing damage. You choose when you pick this modification. It has a propulsive trait and a range increment of 30.
I want to have mobility and the launcher so I can make Metal Gear. I want Metal Gear.
All right, and take care of the last one.
All right, the upgrade Cortex. You map specialized skills into your construct's crude intelligence. Your innovation becomes trained in intimidation, stealth, and survival. So now what you've done is, you've invented the Terminator. Who could just walk around and be like, I'll be back.
Really quick, Adam Jenner pointed out that thermal insulation combos with an ally alchemist, so you don't receive damage from an alchemist's fire splash.
Yes, I saw that earlier. I do think that's a great idea, especially if you decide to make your armor blow up. It seems like the risk of you taking that damage is significantly reduced.
And can I also point out that, do you know what anime construct reminds me of? And I know most people is going to go to Pokemon, and I'm not going towards Pokemon.
No, what are you thinking of?
I don't know if you remember this, PJ. It's a anime called Metabots.
Yes! Oh my god, Metabots! I remember that show. I loved that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to love the video games too. That were really cool.
Yeah, so you're basically building your Pathfinder Metabot with Construct.
I want to say the main character was named like Metabee.
Yeah, Metabee.
Yeah. Oh, that takes me back. That takes me all the way
Yeah,
back.
and I loved it because in Metabots, your Metabot can use whatever parts that you've won.
Yeah. There was this other one tangent, and we have to go right back into it. But there's this other game like Metabots, where it was like toy robots fighting for the amusement of children.
Hmm.
But it was like the idea is they try to build a fighting game for the Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color, and this is the thing they made up. And you would get into basic street fights with toys, and if you won, you'd rip it apart and you go home and you put it on the bot. Uh, and it was so weird because it wasn't like Metabots where they were these adorable kid things. They were shaped like anatomically correct men and women. It was a weird game. I didn't play it for very long.
I will say another one, just really quick. Beyblade. Let
Yeah.
it rip!
My little brother was into it so much, and he's like, "No, we can put all these things on it to make it like tactical." I'm like, "Nah, bros, battle dreidels. It's all random chance.
Yeah.
There's no strategy."
All right, let's move on to weapon.
All right. Well, how about you start this, and we'll pair off with the
All
thing
right.
below.
Your innovation is a impossible looking weapon augmented with numerous unusual gadgets. It begins with the same statistics as a level 0 common simple or martial weapon of your choice or another level 0 simple or martial weapon to which you have access. An innovation weapon can have the fundamental and property runes added to it the same way as ordinary weapons. Because of the unique features of your innovation, everyone except you is untrained in it, even if they're normally trained or better in simple or martial weapons. Choose one initial weapon modification to apply to your innovation, either from the following or from other initial weapon modifications in which you have access. And these modifications grant additional weapon traits and sometimes extra abilities. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here.
There's a lot. I'm already excited because I love the idea of weapon customization. The fact that you literally get to have weapon customization that does not prevent you from doing the runes and everything. That is very cool for like an OC weapon. Do you want to do this one at a time?
Sure. Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first this time?
Why don't you go first because this was yours to start.
All right. Complex simplicity. Simple weapons only. Increase your innovation weapon damage die by one step, D4 to D6, D6 to D8, D8 to D10, and D10 to D12. In addition, it gains one of the following traits of your choice: Versatile B, Versatile P, or Versatile S, which is bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing.
Yeah, really fast Mater for the win. Thank you so much for the subscription for 4 months.
Oh, yeah.
Really appreciate it. And I hope to see you this Wednesday for, I was almost said Empire Strikes Back. That's not it. It's Edge of Legend. Where the hell is my brain? Yeah, so I love the complex simplicity. It kind of functions like the Cleric and Champion Divine Weapon feat, but it's built in. You don't have to take a feat for it. Or I guess the War Priest. So I love that. And I love that you get to choose if it's going to be slashing. This reminds me a lot of the Soldier, actually. The Soldier and the, the other Starfinder class where you're basically a monk with a star and you get to design if the star is going to be a weapon or armor. If you know what I'm talking about in the chat, hit me up so I can't forget.
Oh, PJ, really quick. I know we've been talking about actually Starfinder a lot lately. So maybe down the line, Edge of Legends. Beyond.
You say that like I'm not already writing Empire or not Empire, Edge of Legend 40K. My dude, I'm so 3008 right now. It's crazy. Because I have the starting of Edge of Legend 40K. I have the Cowboy World. I have a bunch of things. I don't want to go into that because that's not the focus.
Why don't you take care of the next one?
Sure. Entangling form, melee only. You've altered your weapon to include tangling wires or straps, or to have a flexible construction. Your innovation gains the grapple and trip traits.
Ooh, do you know what this reminds me of? From Soul Calibur, Ivy's sword whip.
Absolutely. Oh, could you imagine how dope that is? Like, yeah, my weapon is versatile slashing, probably like a D6 or a D8, and I just grapple my targets. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Why don't you take hefty composition?
All right. Hefty composition. Melee only. Blunt surfaces and sturdy construction make your weapon hefty and mace-like. Your innovation gains the shove and versatile B traits. B meaning bludgeoning.
This is interesting. I'm going to notice again. Blunt surfaces and sturdy construction. See, that's really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like if you combine that with complex, it gives you 2 different types of damage types, which is always good. And getting a free shove is always nice. It's interesting. Next up, modular head. You've constructed a multi-purpose, adjustable, striking surface for your weapon. Or if you've made special ammunition that you can swiftly alter. Your innovation gains the modular traits for bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. When you interact to use the modular trait, you can also choose to give the weapon the non-lethal trait if it doesn't currently have it, or to remove that trait if the weapon is currently non-lethal.
Ooh, do you know what this reminds me of? From one of my favorite video game franchises? Monster Hunter. And one of my favorite weapon designs in that game is the gun hammer. It's literally a revolver on a giant warhammer.
I love the Monster Hunter weapons. They are insane. There's another one where it's a spear. Hold on. A spear and a shield, and the spear has a laser cannon attached to it.
A gun lance. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter is just so anime. Oh, the next one
so
that's coming
insane.
out is going to be based on the theme is ninjas, and you have a dog ninja companion that you could pet.
Well, you have to pet it. If you make a game with animals that you can't pet, you failed.
So you have your Palico cat companion, and now a dog pet companion.
Oh my god, palicos are so adorable. By the way, my favorite palico of all time is the buff chef cat. I love that cat because he's just A, he's swole, 2, he cooks, and 3, he's super surly until he makes you a steak and he gets very happy. I'm like, oh look, he just wants to make me a steak.
Every time I see the buff cat chef, in my head, the English voice actor that's voicing him would be like Ron Perlman.
Oh, that would be hilarious. She's like, steaks never change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Meowscular cat meme. I'm digging that. So we did the modular head. Pacification tool, melee only. I believe that's yours, my dude.
Pacification tools, melee only. Softer materials make your weapon suited to render foes unconscious instead of kill. And special protrusions let you catch weapons and disarm your foes. Your innovation gains the disarm and non-lethal traits. Sounds like a certain cleric we know would be down for this.
Absolutely. And plus, sometimes you want to keep people alive.
Yeah.
Razor prongs, melee only. I'm pretty sure razor prongs are not non-lethal. Adding sharp curved blades to your weapon allows you to knock down and slash foes. Your innovation gains the trip and versatile slashing traits. See, I don't know how I feel about that because I feel like you're just better off getting the entangling and the original one, the simple one.
Yeah, razor prawns, honestly, it's a more specific, like, it's a scorpion whip, basically.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Well, let's move on to the last one, segmented frame.
Yep, segmented frame. Hinges, clamps, and telescoping parts make your innovation collapsible and adjustable. It gains the modular trait for bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. You can interact to collapse the item down to bulk or return it to its normal form. When it's collapsed to light bulk, it has the concealable trait, which grants you a +2 circumstance bonus to stealth checks and DCs to hide or conceal weapons. This is actually really interesting because it gives you pretty much all 3 types of non-magical damage.
Yeah, it's modular. Now, this is actually kind of cool, yeah, because you get the modular trait that the modular head would give. You get that already. You get the ability to shrink or grow the weapon, which also allows you to get bonuses to hide it. You know, this is like not at all fantasy. It's like that staff that's in a compressed case, and you press the button down, like Capsule Core style. The staff pops out.
Yeah, or oh god, it's like a indescribable version of a Rubik's Cube weapon. So I can see like an inventor just like as you're doing a different modification with the Rubik's Cube, it becomes different weapons.
I could see that. Very, very interesting how that could happen.
Yeah.
So the good thing is, whew, the innovation is done.
Yeah.
You can do so many different things with this class at level 1 already.
Oh, yeah.
You have tons of options, and a lot of them kind of feel like Starfinder light. But honestly, so far, I think they work very well.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense in a setting like Pathfinder.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think it also does a good job of retroactively explaining where Starfinder came from. You know, I say retroactively because of course Starfinder came out before Pathfinder 2nd. So Inventor feats at first level, everyone gets those. Overdrive. You have a bevy of smaller devices affixed to your body and gear, from muscle stimulators to concussive pistons. When necessary, you can throw them into overdrive to assist you in combat. Do you want to go over the action thing?
Sure. Overdrive is a one-action ability. Inventor and Manipulate. You add greater power to your attacks by throwing an array of small gadgets and gizmos into overdrive. Attempt a crafting check with a standard DC for your level. Critical success, your gadgets were with overwhelming power. Your strikes deal additional damage equal to your intelligence modifier for 1 minute. You can't use overdrive again until 1 minute after the effect expires. Success, you successfully throw your gadgets into overdrive as critical success, except the additional damage is equal to half your intelligence modifier. And failure, you make a miscalculation and fail to power up your devices, but you can try again. And critical failure. Whoops! Something explodes. You take fire damage equal to your level. You can't use overdrive again for 1 minute. And special, if you have a construct innovation, its strikes also gain the additional damage, and if you critically fail your crafting check, it also takes fire damage. This is pretty much in my mind right now. Mind's Eye, it's like a battle harness that you have.
I can see that. I feel like what's cool is that it really can make anything better. Adam Jenner just popped up. Fun fact: the bonus damage stacks with anything. That's exactly why.
Actually,
if you look, I lose my mind when Michael read critical success. You get bonus damage equal to your intelligence modifier.
I just thought of a perfect thing in pop culture.
What?
This reminds me of from Goonies. Data's little belt.
Think of it this way. Let's just. By the way, this is all level 1. Yeah. Level 1, let's say you don't go the weapon route, you go the armor route, right? You make the armor. But you're still trained in simple and martial weapons. So let's say you come out with a D8 broadsword, or hell, you're still trained in all martial weapons, a great axe. That's a martial weapon.
Yeah.
So you have this D12 you're just hucking around. You're pretty defensive because you already have resistance to some types of damage, and then you just decide to put up my int, right? So you have the 16 strength from the suit of armor, which means the weapon right now is 1d12 plus 3 damage. You have an intelligence of 18 because, you should if you can, and that means you activate this to do 1d12 plus 7 damage at level 1 with no magical items.
Yeah.
With a DR of at least 3 to whatever the hell you chose. That is bonkers.
Yeah. But I will say, well, I'll save this for the end of this video, because I do have some stuff that's not that great about Inventor that we'll talk about. But let's move on to the next one.
Peerless Inventor. You constantly invent new technologies, rendering your skill at crafting unimpeachable. You gain the Inventor skill feat even if you don't meet the prerequisites. So there you go. Now, the next ones are pretty straightforward, skill feats, general feats. But then at third, we have Reconfigure. Michael, why don't you talk about Reconfigure?
Sure. Reconfigure. You get it at third level. You've become an expert in all crafts and always adjust your inventions to achieve the perfect configuration. You can attempt to change the modifications on your innovation by spending 1 day of downtime tinkering with it and attempting a crafting check with a high DC for your level. On a success, you can change one modification you chosen for your innovation to a different modification of the same kind, initial breakthrough or revolutionary. If you have any modification feats on a successful check, you can choose to instead retrain a modification feat to a different modification feat. The new feat has to meet the standard restrictions for retraining.
Interesting. If you have any modification feats, yeah. This reminds me of there was a class in Pathfinder First Edition. It was a what I like to call a combo class. They took two classes, put them together, made a new class, and it was called, I want to say it was called the Brawler. And one of the big things is that the Brawler was a fighter monk hybrid that had the unique ability to take certain feats at certain levels and then retrain them on the fly, so long as you took them from a certain group and met the prerequisites. So one day you'd wake up and you'd have this feat, and then you'd wake up the next day and decide, nah, I'm not feeling that style. I'm going to use this other feat instead.
It's pretty
and this
interesting.
reminds me of that.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the regular stuff like skill increases at 3rd level and every 2nd level thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
Your ability boost at 5th. Your ancestry feat at 5th. And why don't you take a weapon innovator, PJ?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So Weapon Innovator is kind of the same as a lot of fighter classes. It's your level 5 skill increase with weapons. I'm sorry, proficiency increase with weapons, which I want to make sure I did a lot of research of. A lot of your tanky guys and your monk gets it at 5th level. Mm-hmm. So your attacks with all your weapons are expert instead of trained. And one good thing is that if you have a weapon innovation, you gain access to critical specialization effects with your innovation. So now you also get critical specialization with whatever thing you've made. So it's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really quick, in chat, Adam Jenner said that, posted, he didn't retrain them on the fly. They could spend a standard action to learn a new combat feat on the fly for a minute or so.
That's right. I know they had this system where basically they could pick and choose different feats as they went through it. Mm-hmm. It's been a long time since I played Brawler because the BAB was good, but the penalty for flurrying of blowing or multi-tack was just horrendous. Mm. But that's a different story for a different time.
All right. Next up, we have weapon reflexes. Your proficiency rank for reflex increases to expert at 7th, and then the offensive boost at 7th. Should I take this one?
Sure.
You've made additions to your innovation to upgrade your offensive capabilities. Strikes that rely on your innovation deal an additional 1d6 damage with a type determined by the boost you choose. If your innovation is armor, the boost applies to your melee unarmed strikes and to your melee strikes with one weapon you choose during your daily preparations. If your innovation is a construct, the boost applies to your construct companion strike, and if your innovation is a weapon, the boost applies to your strikes with your innovation. You can spend downtime to switch to a different boost in the same way as switching your modification with reconfigure. And there's chill, which is cold. Your innovation rapidly absorbs heat, creating an intense chill. Ignition, which is fire. Your innovation shoots out just a flame. Jolt, electricity. Your innovation jolts foes with electricity. Momentum, bludgeoning. Your innovation slams your foe with added momentum. Saw, slashing. Your innovation or its ammunition applies spinning saw blades during your attacks. Spike, piercing. Your innovation or its ammunition employs a wicked spike during your attacks. And visceral, which is acid. Your innovation releases spurts of acid, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what this reminds me of? If it's a weapon.
What's that?
The weapon from the special weapon from the Fifth Element.
Yeah, I could see that. Really fast. Arthur Melbourne, great to see you in the chat. Sorry you can't stay very long, but always awesome to see you, my dude. It was really great talking to you when we did the Discord Q&A last week. Same as you, Adam Jenner. It was awesome hearing your voice and talking to you too. So thank you guys for coming by. Hope you have a good time. Hope you enjoy what you can, Arthur. And we're getting back to this Inventor class. Yep. What I think is crazy is that the Inventor, the offensive boost, effectively gives you a bonus 1d6 of any of those damage types, right? Whenever you're using a thing where it's based off of you, right?
Yeah.
So you could either A, make it your weapon innovation and still get the +5, still get the weapon specialization that's also at this level, so you're also doing another 2 damage on top of everything else. The damage of the weapon you've chosen to make, which is a 1 die larger than what it is normally, you can choose that. And now you're getting all those perks, a bonus intelligence boost, 1 die size class larger, whatever strength you have or dexterity you have to swing this bad boy, and now you're getting a bonus 1d6 flat with the weapon of a type. That's insane. And then the weapon specialization that comes at the same level. So you're not only getting, regular die plus d6 plus your strength plus your intelligence when you want it, but you also get an additional, make sure I got this right, 2 damage because you're already an expert at this level.
Mm-hmm.
This class is insane. I'm sure it's going to peter out long game, but on the first 10 levels so far, we're seeing a very capable melee class.
It gives you, I feel this class emphasizes on options when it comes to damage types.
Yeah. And I know we mentioned this before, it definitely feels like a combination of the that's right, it's the soldier and the solar. That's I think is what it's called. In that both classes had a lot of choices and freedoms in how they did their damage and how they could customize that damage. And the Inventor really feels like they took those 2 base mechanics and smooshed it together, made them kiss, and made a class for Pathfinder.
All right, let's continue on. Yeah, PJ, why don't you take it?
All right, at 9th level, you get Breakthrough Innovation. You've made a breakthrough in your field of study and discovered a powerful new way to enhance your innovation. Choose a breakthrough modification for the appropriate type of innovation to apply. You can choose an initial modification for the same innovation type instead if you'd prefer. So these are basically the things you're adding to your older creation.
PJ, I just want to point out really quick. You kind of, I think you skipped over weapon specialization that you get at 7th level. Just a little.
No, I mean I already mentioned that with the offensive boost because everyone's gonna get that weapon specialization at that level.
Okay.
So yeah, it's 2 at expert, 3 at master, and 4 at legendary. Anyway, so breakthrough innovation. If you have an armor modification, there's so many.
There's
things here.
I'm looking at it like, oh boy.
So many. I mean, granted, they're all awesome, but it's a lot, which I appreciate.
Let's just go back and forth with them.
Sure, I'll start and we'll switch off.
Yeah.
Dense plating. You've encased your armor with incredible plating. While wearing your armor, you gain resistance to slashing damage equal to 2 plus half your level. So that's nice because at first it was just an elemental damage. Now at 9th level, you get not only the elemental damage, but a flat DR to slashing type equal to 2 plus half your level, which I imagine goes forward for the rest of your leveling.
Yeah. Next one is Enhanced Resistance. You improved upon your initial modification ability to resist damage. The resistance from your initial armor modification increases to 2 plus your level. If you have more than 1 initial modification, choose 1 to apply this modification to.
All right. Heavy Construction. You've expanded your innovation into a heavy bulwark while taking none of the drawbacks for doing so. Your innovation becomes heavy armor, and your proficiency in your innovation armor, but no other heavy armor, advances equal to your proficiency in medium. If your strength score is at least a 16, which Adam Generator put up is it's given by the armor so that you basically don't take a penalty for wearing it. You remove the speed penalty entirely instead of reducing it to -5 feet. Okay, cool. So at this point in time, if you take heavy construction, you don't take the -5 penalty at all. The statistics, no, they're a little different. My bad. The armor statistics are as follows: AC bonus +5, Dex cap +1, check penalty -2, speed penalty -10 feet, strength 16, bulk 3, group composite, armor traits, bulwark. So now you're just more of a tanky boy.
Yeah, I was gonna say this reminds me of I think it's called the Maglyph or something that that a Sigourney Weaver's character uses in Aliens.
Oh, the big exo armor?
The exo armor, yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
can
the
see
next
that.
one is layered mesh. You've woven an incredibly powerful network of interlocking mesh around your armor, catching piercing attacks and diffusing them. While wearing this armor, your resistance becomes you gain resistance to piercing damage equal to 2 plus half your level. Not bad.
Okay. So this is basically, and I'm seeing ahead, the tensile absorption is exactly the same. It's 2 plus half your level to bludgeoning damage. So it appears at level 9, if you are taking the armor route, you can either choose to enhance your DR that you chose at level 1 to a type of element, or you can choose to give yourself basically an enhanced version of the overall suit, or give yourself the same DR in one type of mundane melee damage. Slashing, piercing, or bludgeoning of your choice. So that's interesting, but I hate choosing between the three because you never know what you're going to run into. But either way, it's still good. It's still very good for defense.
I like the heavy construction, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. But anyway, moving on to breakthrough construct modifications. You want to go take the first one?
Sure. Advanced weaponry. You've upgraded your construct's weaponry. Choose one of your construct's unarmed attacks to gain your choice of one initial weapon modification, which can be chosen from page 17, or from other initial weapon modifications to which you have access. The unarmed attack must meet any requirements for the chosen traits, such as being melee attack or entangling form. All right, next up, Mr. Michael Powell.
Is climbing limbs. With appendages that can claw or create suction, your construct becomes a capable climber. Your innovation gains a climb speed equal to half its land speed. All right.
Which can be pretty good because I'm pretty sure constructs can't really climb at all.
Yeah.
So it's good that I get that for free. Yeah. Durable construction. Your innovation is solidly built and can take more punishment before being destroyed. Increase its maximum hit points by your level.
That's not bad. You have your own little personal tank.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what the hit points are for the construct off the top of my head, but having at this point 9 bonus HP is really darn good.
Yeah. Next one is Refined Cortex. Your innovation gains expert proficiency in intimidation, stealth, and survival. For any of these skills in which it was already an expert because of being an advanced construct companion, for example, it gains master proficiency instead. If you have the revolutionary innovation class feature, these proficiencies improve to master, or legendary if your innovation was already an expert. You must have the upgraded Cortex modification to select this modification. Ooh, oh, you basically have Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense. Like, what's funny is that everything else allows you to mix and match how you want it, but this one does kind of specify that you have to have the last one. So you when you're making this kind of pet class, you have to ask yourself, do I really want this class to be a skill-based assistant?
Yeah.
Which could be useful because, like I said, you start off with 8 skills. This thing could easily cover 3 skills that you don't have to be proficient in.
Honestly, having I'm just going to call it a pet, your companion pet, be like this. This is perfect for a social game. You can be an inventor in a social game and be your assistant, like your Robo Butler.
Yeah, like Alpha 5.
Yeah, Adam Generator really also posted. Also, keep in mind that you can change modifications with 1 day of downtime.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, you do get that freedom, which is really cool. However, you have to ask yourself, how often do you get that downtime?
Yeah.
Depends on the campaign. Sometimes GMs will say, here's like a month of filler story arcs that you guys can downtime and roll out. Sometimes it's just bangity, 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 bangity.
Yeah.
And Rube Saki went, ay, 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 ay.
Yeah.
Classic. All right. The weapon mod. I loved Alpha 5. He was way ahead of his time. He was really the hero we all deserved.
Yep.
The weapon modifications. Here we go. Here's some more. This is a lot. Here we go. Inconspicuous appearance. Your innovation is built for easy concealment. It gains the backstabber and versatile piercing trait. If the weapon has light bulk, it also gains concealable trait. Not bad. You could do the Assassin's Creed blade, a little a little easier that way. I dig it.
Or honestly, a another modified version of the cane sword.
Yeah, a little bit. I can see that.
Yeah. Next one is Advanced Rangefinder. Okay, Dragon Ball. I'm just gonna say Dragon Ball. I haven't read it yet. This is basically Dragon Ball. This is your scouter. Just saying. But anyway, a carefully turned scope or targeting device makes your innovation especially good at hitting weak points. Your innovation gains the sniper trait and increases the range increment by 10 feet. Okay, maybe not the scouter. But actually, if anything, a more useful version of the scouter.
Well, because the scouter was just like, hey, the Dragon Balls are here. This would be like if you gave your scouter a gun, and the scouter's like, the Dragon Balls are here. I got Frieza in my sights.
Reap Psyche posted, you could play Boma. Yeah. Oh, actually,
could. Yeah.
If anything, the Advanced Rangefinder reminds me of Doc Brown in Back to the Future 3, where he puts that super long telescoping thing on his rifle.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically a scope.
Yeah.
Which is why it gives you sniper trait and increased range by 10 feet. Which is still good, because like if you make this as a gun weapon or a ranged weapon, you're now playing the ranged game, which is designed inherently to kind of get in the way of their players by putting limitations on range and accuracy.
Or if you go with the Mandalorian Boba Fett, it's the rangefinder there.
True. I also love Atom Generator. You can put a scope on a sling. Yep, just some halfling like getting the sling ready, and then this attachment goes in their eye, and they're like, "I got you now." Let's see. Next up, Aerodynamic Construction. You carefully engineer the shape of your weapon to maintain its momentum in attacks against successive targets. Your innovation gains the sweep trait and the versatile slashing trait. So it's a melee weapon that basically just gets one more trait added to it, and you can use the sweep ability.
Yeah.
Not bad. You can basically hit more than one person now.
Yeah. Integrated Gauntlet. One-handed weapon only can't have the two-handed trait. So you're pretty much Thanos. Thanos.
Yep.
Combining your weapon with a gauntlet, you make it so that you can quickly switch between attacking with your weapon and tinkering using your hands. Your innovation gains the free hand trait.
See, I'm thinking of like more like Iron Man, where like the range weapon is like on his hand, or even going back to like Assassin's Creed, the blade is attached to something.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever you need, and then just be like, snicked. Manifold alloy. You devise several alloys containing the best properties of various metals, replacing parts of your weapon or its ammunition with pieces from these alloys. Let's see. Your weapon is cold iron and silver, allowing you to deal more damage to supernatural creatures, demons, devils, and fae. So it's Witcher. Not bad.
It's very Witcher.
Very Witcher. It's nice that it allows you to deal damage to demons, devils, and fae, but I kind of feel like at 9th level, you're gonna find that elsewhere. So I don't.
Yeah. Next one is Tangle Line. Thrown Oni. Your weapon has an extendable line that can be used to knock your enemies over and allow you to quickly recall that weapon. Your innovation gains the range trip trait and the tether trait. This is basically Boba Fett's, the Mandalorian's, a gauntlet lasso thing.
Absolutely. I want to say there's been like tripwire things, like you shoot out a cable and it like hooks them in. I also love Atom Generator in the chat saying, basically putting a sniper scope on a leather sling. It can be a ranged weapon. It can absolutely do it. And Reap Psyche saying, never underestimate the usefulness of putting a scope on a knife. That's right, man. You want to make sure you're really getting in there, seeing your target clear as day. Okay, the other 9th level trait you get is Inventive Expertise. Basically, your class DC becomes expert. Simple as that. Why don't you take the 11 and 13 stuff?
Okay, medium armor expertise. Your proficiency in ranks in light armor, medium armor, and unarmored defense increases to expert. And resolve, your proficiency rank for will save increases to master. And when you roll a success on a will save, you get a critical success instead. Or alertness, your proficiency for perception increases to expert. Then also at 13, Weapon Mastery. Your weapon proficiency rank for simple and martial weapon and unarmed attacks increase to master. And then, this is a good one, at 15th, complete reconfiguration. When it comes to crafting and tinkering, you become incredibly adept at changing modifications. When you spend downtime to reconfigure your innovation and succeed at your crafting check, you can swap any number of modifications, swap your offensive boost, or retrain any number of modification feats. You must swap a modification only with one of the same type, initial, breakthrough, or revolutionary.
Yeah, so let's see. It looks like this is the big one where you really do get to swap out your choices. I think beforehand, if you were able to swap out, it was definitely a more prolonged process.
Yeah.
But at level 15, you get to swap out these modifications with something as simple as a crafting check. Oh, on downtime. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, like Adam Jenner was saying, that you could change them out on downtime. I think we're just now getting that ability at 15th. So now you get the freedom of whatever you want as long as it's for your innovation.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you got greater weapon specialization, 4, 6, and 8 for experts, master, and legendary, respectively. More damage for the damage god, more pain for the pain throne. Juggernaut at 16. A lot of classes have this. You know what it does. Fortitude is now master. Critical successes of a regular on a fort save. Inventive mastery at 17th level. Your inventions are incredibly effective. Your DC is now mastery. A master DC for your class. 17th level, revolutionary innovation. This is the last level of innovations that you can put on your swag.
It's another it's another long one.
So we're just gonna move through this. You're an unparalleled genius. Here's the new modifications you can get. Save that fluff because it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with the revolutionary armor modifications. Energy barrier. Okay, your armor's defense ablate any kind of energy coming your way. While wearing your armor, you gain resistance to all energy damage equal to 2 plus half your level. You must have the harmonic oscillator, metallic resistance, or thermal insulation modification to select this modification. So before, up to this point, at level 1, we have the ability to get a damage resistance to 2 types of elements, 2 plus half level. Somewhere around, I think, level 7, you got the ability to make that 2 plus your full level, if you want to keep continuing to do that. Now, you're getting 2 plus half level to all types of energy.
Yeah. You're basically creating a force field.
Yeah. Speaking of resistance, why don't you get the next one?
All right. Incredible resistance. You've improved upon your breakthrough modification's ability to resist damage. Choose one of the following breakthrough modifications your innovation has: dense plating, layered mesh, or tensile absorption. The resistance you gain from that modification increases to 2 plus your level. Okay, oh man, the fact that it stacks.
Well, no, I don't think it stacks. It changes. So no,
okay.
at least if I'm reading it and if I'm trying to understand the language here, in the past, in the other levels, you could choose slashing or bludgeoning or piercing 2 plus half level. I think what this does is it modifies it to 2 plus your full level instead.
Okay. That makes a lot less broken.
Yeah, but here's the cool thing: as early as I think, oh gosh, I forgot when it was, 7th level or whenever it was, you could take maybe it was 9th. You could stack the energy DR and one type of melee DR, and now we're seeing we can either open that up to all energy or potentially one type of damage.
Yeah.
Full level.
Why don't you take physical protections next?
All right. Your armor has so many adjustments and precautions that it can guard you against all physical damage. Here we go. While wearing your armor, you gain resistance to the big 3, equal to 2 plus half your level. You must have dense plating, layered mesh, or tensile absorption breakthrough before this one. So before, where you could take only one type of melee, 2 plus half level, now you're given the choice that one melee damage type, 2 plus full level, or all mundane melee type, 2 plus half level. Very interesting choices there to do.
All right, next up is Rune Capacity. Whether you dabbled in the
Or it depends on who you are. It's either orichalcum or orichalcum.
yeah,
Uh,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, or found another engineering solution, you've built your innovation in such a way that it can hold an additional property rune. Your innovation can have one more property rune than a normal item of its kind, to a maximum of 4 property runes with a +3 potency armor.
that is awesome. You get one more rune to put in there because the maximum is only 3 on any weapon,
Yeah.
or anything, I should say, in this case, armor. But at level 17, the kind of runes that you're going to be running into are going to be really good.
Yeah.
The fact that you could have a +3 runes, or +3 armor enhancement runes with 4 level 17 runes, that's going to be really good armor.
Yeah. All right. Next we have the construct modifications. Why don't you take the first one there?
Flight chassis. For a minute, I thought I said fight chassis, and I got excited. Like, flight chassis. Here's the Iron Man. You fit your construct with a means of flight, such as adding rotors or rebuilding it with wings and a lightweight construction. Your innovation gets a fly speed of 25. So that's really cool, because most movement speeds are between 25 and 35 the most.
Yeah.
So now we have this interesting potential. You can fly the same speed you can move.
Yeah,
So
and I would actually disagree with the Iron Man. Since it's for your construct, this is more Baymax.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I forgot that this was for your pets and not your armor. Good call.
Next one is Runic Keystone. By incorporating a runestone-like device in your intervention, you allow it to hold a property rune even though it isn't a weapon or suit of armor. An armor property rune affects your innovation as if it would affect the wearer of the armor. A weapon property rune grants whatever properties it would normally grant to a weapon to your innovation's unarmed attacks, following all the requirements as normal. For instance, a Vorpal rune only applies to slashing melee unarmed attacks, and if the rune affects only range attacks, it has no effect unless your innovation has a built-in range attack from the Projectile Launcher initial modification. For example, if the rune would affect the physical shape or appearance of the weapon or armor, like Glamored, the rune has no effect when etched onto your construct.
Okay, cool. So this is kind of like with animal companions.
Yeah.
Animal companions, I don't believe, because I had to make stuff for a famous little badger. I don't believe they themselves can wear runes, but they can wear things that come with runic effects on it, I believe. So it's kind of like that. You're now giving a rune for your pet, for lack of a better word, which is interesting. That could really have some fun payoff.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Lady Autorel. Yeah, that is a cool option. Baymax is a good way to picture it, although would still love to see an Iron Man version.
Absolutely. I think the closer we get to what's it called, Starfinder, that's when you're gonna start seeing your Iron Man, especially the laser cannons they have in that game.
Yeah.
Good lord. Resistant coating. Your innovation is resilient to damage by any means. It gets a DR5 all except adamantine. That's really kind of cool. So now you have this little pet, and granted, it's probably not going to be as resistant as, say, the suit of armor you make for yourself. But this little robo gremlin takes DR5 to everything except adamantine. At that point, your GM has to throw something that's adamantine at you specifically.
And that's a bad day for everybody else then.
Yeah. Adam Jenner does mention that the runes that you can give your companion only benefit from things that affect AC, speed, maybe attack rolls and saves. True, valid, but at the same time, like, really, that's probably the only thing that would make sense to give it. It wouldn't make any sense to give it a shocking rune. Like, I guess you're just constantly shocking people?
Yeah. All right, next one is wall configuration. Your innovation can transform from a mobile construct to a stationary battlefield emplacement as a 2-action activity that has the manipulate trait. Your construct unfolds from its usual form into a thin straight wall of metal and gears up to 10 feet tall and up to 30 feet long. The wall must extend through your innovation's original space, and while your construct is a wall, it can't take any actions except to use the same activity to transform back, and it can't defend itself easily, which makes it flat-footed and gives it an additional -2 status penalty to its AC. The wall blocks line of sight and effects unless your innovation has half its maximum hit points or fewer, at which point holes in the wall allow creatures to see through and attack with standard cover and tiny creatures to slip past. This kind of reminds me of back in the day. There are these transformers that instead of turning into vehicles, they turn into like a gas station or a space station or one of those a launching pad or something.
I remember those. Yeah, they were changing into like things within the city. I know Metroplex was the biggest one because he himself was a full city.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've heard a little bit about the other ones.
Yeah.
What I like about this is it's mobile cover. So if you have this innovation as a thing that you've really put a lot of heart and soul into, you can now do things like give bonuses or give defenses to everyone or protect the ranger.
This is a very good modification to take if you're a tactical player, I want to say.
Let me change this a bit. It zoomed in a bit too much. That's too far out. But the next one is the weapon modification. And I like Hurdy Boy stuff, so let's see what the Hurdy Boy stuff does. Attack Refiner. Your weapon makes minute recalibrations for every missed attack to ensure the next attack lands true. It gets the backswing and shove traits. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Why don't you get Deadly Strike?
All right, Deadly Strike. Through precise calculation, you found the perfect shape for your weapon to deal extreme damage on a well-placed strike. Your innovation gets the Deadly D8 trait. If your innovation already has a Deadly trait, it increases its Deadly die to D12 instead of gaining Deadly D8. Ooh.
So now your weapon has the Deadly trait. See, that's really cool. I have to wonder, though, because I believe the weapon it's based off something already. So, like, if your weapon that you build is based off of, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what a simple weapon is a D8. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but we all know there's one.
I think a mace.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they might. Yeah. I think a mace or a Warhammer? No, Warhammer. Either way, a D8. So if it's already got a D8, the Deadly D8 I feel like doesn't work, but it won't have a Deadly D8 innate to the weapon. It's weird. I feel like what it should say, if the weapon is already a D8, then it becomes a Deadly D12 instead of...
No, it does. It increases to a Deadly D12 instead of gaining the Deadly D8.
No, it says if it already has the Deadly trait. What I'm saying is I feel like they should get rid of that part and say if your weapon already does D8 damage, then it should be a deadly die of 12.
Oh, okay.
Because like, it could be a D4, right? And have a deadly of D8. But if it's a D8... then it should have a deadly of D10 to D12. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, Adam Jenner said, yeah, but if I want a wall, I ask the wizard to cast a wall of stone. Well, what if it's a situation where the wizard either doesn't have a spell slot, or you just don't have a wizard in the party?
Yeah. Also, confusing deadly and fatal. Not entirely, no, because like deadly adds bonus damage, I believe, equal to the value. I was just reading it last night, and they're very similar. Deadly adds bonus dice after you rolled the critical effect, equal to the value given. And so, yeah, it's still valuable, and I believe it's 1 die per bonus to the weapon. But I feel like if the weapon already does D8, because Deadly always does more than the weapon's value. At least that's how it's written so far. So I feel like, yeah, getting bonus D8s is nice, but I feel like with how it's written mechanically, it should be more.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to enhanced damage, PJ.
Really? Longbow is D8 with Deadly D8. That's weird. I'll have to look into that because I thought it was a D10. All right, enhanced damage. Your innovation is more powerful than the other weapons of its kind. Increase your innovation's weapon die by 1 more step. As normal, you can't increase your die by more than 1 size, so this modification is not cumulative with complex simplicity. That's really good because that kind of solves that issue. If you have a D6 and now it's a D8, it won't go to a D10. But if you missed that, because there's other really good stuff at the first level innovation for weapons, now's your chance on the back end to get that ability again.
Yeah.
I like that.
Next one is Momentum Retainer. It's a melee only. A special weighted device adds a special weighted device that lets your weapon retain more of its momentum when you attack. Your innovation gains the Forceful trait.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad. I believe, oh gosh, I want to say forceful trait is like, I'm trying to remember, it's definitely a blunt thing. I don't know why I'm
I
blanking
think I
on
remember
this.
it was kind of like a shove.
Yeah, but I want
Yeah.
to say it's it's definitely like a shove, but I think there's like a backswing effect or something.
Yeah. Oh, I like the next one actually. Why don't you read that next one, PJ?
The extensible weapon? Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow you found a way to construct your weapon so that it can extend while leaving its balance unchanged. Your innovation gains the reach trait. If the weapon already had the reach trait, you increase it by an additional 10 feet instead of the usual additional 5. So basically your reach with this weapon is up to a maximum of 15 feet reach.
Yeah.
That's insane.
This reminds me of the Monkey King's extending pole.
Oh yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah. All right. The next one is Impossible Alloy. Other inventors claim it's not even technically possible, but you manage to create several metal alloys that seem to work for only you, allowing you to damage opponents vulnerable to every one of the 7 sky metals. Your innovation is treated as all 7 sky metals: Absalom, Adamantite, Dejet. Oh god, why are you making me pronounce these?
You chose it.
Inutrix, Noquel, Oculum, and
Oh god. Okay, so obsidian, adamantine, Jesit, Inubrix, Noqual, Orichalcum, and Sicatite.
Sycotite, yeah. Oof. This allows you to deal more damage to a variety of creatures, though you don't apply any of the other sky metal, any of the other special effects for weapons made of those sky metals.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's really, really cool, but again, I feel like it kind of goes back to the similar thing in the last innovation level, where it's like, although as much as cold as you probably could get a cold iron weapon at level 9, I don't know if you're going to get a lot of Sicatite weapons at level 17,
Yeah.
just because it's so specific. Oh, Atom Generator, it's 25. Oh, right, because they grow bigger. Atom Generator is suggesting the idea of having a giant instinct barbarian with the Inventor class so that you can create a bladed scarf fighter with 25 feet of area reach with this weapon modification. That is pretty disgusting, to say the least. Rune Capacity. Whether you've dabbled in Orichalcum or found another engineering solution, you've built your innovation in such a way that can hold an additional property rune. Same thing as the armor, make it for the weapon. If you like putting the big hurt on people, you get the weapon. Plus 3 weapon now has 4 runes at level 17. Oh, God. Oh, sorry, level 19.
Oh, yeah.
You can put a Vorpal on there. You can put a Vorpal
God. Put a Vorpal on it. Whew.
You could put Vorpal, Shocking, probably like a major Shocking rune if you want that.
I want to do Vorpal and Keen.
Ooh, yeah, Vorpal. I think Speed. Yeah, I think Speed is. You could put Vorpal, Keen, Speed. 1, 2, 3. So the 4th one, you could put whatever the heck you want there to like do extra dice damage for major elemental rune or whatever.
Yeah.
That's insane.
All right. Now we are at the capstone. Do you want me to take care of this?
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right, the first one is medium armor mastery. Your skill with armor improves to avoid more blows, and your light and medium armor and armor defense increases master. Pretty basic. But then you have the infinite invention. Let's check that out. At 19th level, your ability to adjust your innovation has reached impossible heights. During your daily preparations, you automatically fix your innovation if it's destroyed or broken, and you can change to a different innovation, armor, construct, weapon, or other type that you have access to, and change your modifications and offensive boosts. If you have any feats that had your previous innovation as a prereq, you can't use them until you retrain the feats as normal. However, it only takes 1 day of downtime to retrain such a feat into a feat that has your new innovation as a prereq instead of 1 week.
So this is really cool because this is the absolute freedom in customizing your weapon.
Yeah.
Or your well, I'm being biased, customizing your innovation.
Yeah.
Because up to this point, we've seen that the ability to change is there, but it takes a lot of downtime.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the most downtime you need is literally to do anything. And I'm including changing your innovations and changing your feats to those innovations.
Yeah.
Just a day. If you're spending a day camping, you can basically spend that day at your workbench just changing this entirely. This is
the capstone of literally the Swiss Army of all capstones.
What I love about this is a great example of Victory Loves preparation.
Mm-hmm.
If you know you're going into a very specific boss fight, a dragon, a god, whatever, you can take whatever your thing is and hyper specifically focus it for the battle to come. And that's not something a lot of people get the opportunity to. They just hope they're prepared as best they can.
This is for that player that's super tactical. Super tactical. A very tactical player will take advantage of this. Definitely. All right, now let's move on to the feats.
Hey everyone! Thank you so much for sitting through that wild ride. The feats, the features that the Inventor gets are insane, prolific, so many options, so many choices, and because we just ran out of time with all these amazing things, we haven't even gotten to feats yet, we decided we're going to cut this up into 3 episodes. This first one being just the class features alone. Tune in next time where we discuss the class feats, level 1 to 20. I can't wait. And for the 3rd and final episode, we're going to go into all the unique details of the Inventor companions and animal companions, familiars as well. So stay tuned. We're looking forward to going over that stuff with you. This class is amazing so far. And without further ado...
beefy. It is very beefy.
Oh, it is the thickest steak I think I've ever put my teeth into. It is. But without further ado, Mr. Michael Powell, tell them who you are and where we can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Well, I am Michael Powell. You can find me all over the internet on my social media, which is usually at Mr. Kapow, that's MRKAPAO, or my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Michael Powell does stuff, because I do a lot of stuff, such as my YouTube channel, which is called Fantastic Tales of Invention. And on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Toyzilla Network channel here on Twitch, I am part of a show called Toyzilla Live, where we do toy news and nostalgia stuff. Oh, and by the way, quick shout out, I believe this upcoming Thursday, I want to say, or the last Thursday of the month, I will be part of a live action role plays boardroom show featuring angels and demons, and I will be playing something, I guess, in between. So yeah, can't wait for that.
Exciting. Yeah. I was talking to Ryan. We have a little special surprise somewhere down the road. I don't know if we're going to get to it, but there's a potential for a special surprise there. And I love Angels and Demons in a Boardroom, so you're talking right up my alley. If you haven't checked it out yet, Ryan's a great friend of the show. Go check it out. Life Action Roleplay. It's great stuff. And you know me, I'm PJ McGaw. You can find me all over the internet at PJ.McGaw. When I'm not here on Tuesdays with Mr. Michael Powell, I'm here Wednesdays for the Pathfinder 2nd Edition homebrew show, Edge of Legend. As the Green War roars and erupts all over the Alphon Prime continent, we see what our heroes can do to stop this war. That being said, thank you so much for taking the time, pulling out your chairs, taking up your roleplay books, and joining us here at the table. And until we see you again, we will see you same Nat time, same Nat channel. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.